Gertie Spurling here with 7 Adelaide's afternoon news, making news this hour. Detectives seize items of interest in the outback search for little Gus Lamont. A meth addict mum handed a huge sentence over the neglect death of her little girl. South Australia's unwanted record, diesel prices surging to a historic high. Iran sets tankers ablaze in the crucial Strait of Hormuz as Israel and America ramp up attacks. Developing, a Liberal candidate dumped from the state election race over his controversial views. And a Hawks hero named as the Crows' new list boss.
Live from Adelaide, this is 7 News.
Good afternoon. Detectives have seized several items of interest at the outback home of missing 4-year-old Gus Lamont. As Hannah Ford reports, it's hoped recent floods have washed up new clues that can help police crack the case.
The police convoy rolled into Oak Park Station here mid-morning and have remained here for several hours, but the little boy's grandparents who live here have been nowhere to be seen. Detectives combed the property for new clues today, seizing several items of interest. Police also focused on a front room of the home near the mountain of dirt where the 4-year-old was last seen playing on grand final night. This video released by his parents 2 weeks ago showing the hat he was wearing that night, but despite multiple large-scale searches, there's been no trace of the little boy found. But detectives from Task Force Horizon are hoping flooding in the region has helped wash up new clues. Yesterday, police used a small camera to search several wells on a property owned by another family member. Gus Lamont's disappearance has been declared a major crime and police have a suspect. His grandparents have both hired high-profile lawyers and are not cooperating with police. Investigators have vowed to continue to return to this area to search for as long as it takes.
Now to the hefty sentence handed to a meth-addicted mother responsible for one of the state's worst cases of criminal neglect. As Deanna Williams reports, Crystal Hanley watched and did nothing as her daughter died of starvation.
Such was the horrific and distressing nature of this case, the judge took regular breaks throughout the hour-and-a-half sentence. Charlie Nowland's death at the tender age of just 6 is heartbreaking, more so because it was her own mother, Crystal Hanley, who caused it. There are no words to adequately reflect the tragedy of this case. By the time she was taken to hospital in July 2022, Charlie weighed just 18 kilograms, her head, ears and nose were full of lice eggs, and she wasn't breathing. Charlie was severely malnourished to the point her body collapsed and her heart gave way. The court heard her birth was never registered, she never went to school, nor had she ever seen a doctor or dentist in her short life. The Hanley family, which included 6 other children, lived in squalor at Manopara and were fed a diet of frozen chips, 2-minute noodles, soft drinks and lollies. The judge said 50-year-old Hanley was more interested in methamphetamine than her children's welfare. The court heard Hanley began neglecting the children after being stabbed by their father, John Nowland. In prison calls between the pair, Hanley joked that Charlie couldn't walk because her ankles were swollen.
She won't walk.
You had a callous disregard for the condition Charlie was in. And this, you'll have to live for the rest of your life with the knowledge of the devastation you have caused to all of your children. She pleaded guilty to criminal neglect and was sentenced to 17 years with a non-parole period of 12 years. Hanley's backdated head sentence will expire in 2042 when she'll be 66.
4 men and 1 woman have died on South Australian roads in the past week, prompting an urgent warning from police. Astonishingly, 2 of those killed weren't wearing seatbelts, as Lauren Rose reports.
A 24-year-old was killed here on Baker Road at Virginia when his sedan slammed into a 4-wheel drive.
The driver and passenger of the Toyota were taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries from the crash that happened yesterday afternoon. Hours earlier, a 50-year-old woman lost her life at Port Pirie South. Investigators believe she was stationary on the side of the road when an oncoming car ploughed into hers. That smash took place right outside a school. Teachers were first on scene rendering first aid. Police then worked with them to protect the children.
They left the school via a different exit. We had the road shut down so that the children couldn't be exposed to any of the trauma.
On Saturday, a 37-year-old motorcyclist was killed at Evanston. A 77-year-old was reported for causing death by careless driving. That morning, a 23-year-old died at Loxton when his station wagon hurtled into a brick wall. And on Friday, a 40-year-old behind the wheel couldn't survive injuries suffered in this crash at Cheltenham.
Of the 5 that lives lost over the last week, the early stages indicate that 2 of those people were not wearing seatbelts.
Police say all 5 of these fatal crashes were preventable.
South Australians are officially paying more than ever at the Bowser, with the price of diesel surging to the highest on record. Some servos around Adelaide are now charging up to $2.59 a litre. That's almost 20 cents higher than the previous peak in June 2022. Meantime, the RAA is accusing some servos of overinflating the price of unleaded, which now sits around $2.
We think it's unacceptable and unjustified that a 25 to 30 cent margin is being charged by retailers when they have been charging only an 8 cent margin from the start of this year.
The motoring body says unleaded prices should start to stabilise soon, but it could be a few weeks before diesel follows suit. Donald Trump has declared victory over Iran while simultaneously saying the fight isn't over. His comments come as the US government is pressed on the war's objectives and when it will come to an end. Miley Hogan reports.
US President Donald Trump has given conflicting statements about the duration and objectives of his war with Iran. Today, adding to that confusion by claiming the US has won, but warning they'll stay in the fight to finish the job. He made the comments during a campaign-style rally in Kentucky.
Operation Epic Fury! Is that a great name? Well, it's only good if you win, you know, you can only do. And we've won. Let me say, we've won. You know, you never like to say too early you won. We won. As we end this threat to America and this threat to the world, we don't want to leave early, do we? We got to finish the job, right?
It comes after the president was questioned about a report in the New York Times that claims the US was responsible for the deadly strike on an Iranian school. The Times quoting unnamed sources, citing a preliminary report that claims the US strike may have been a mistake based on outdated intelligence. Donald Trump had previously suggested Iran was to blame.
A new report says the military investigation has found it was the United States that struck the school.
I don't know about that.
The Pentagon claims they've decimated Iran's military, hitting more than 5,500 targets inside Iran since the start of the conflict, including ballistic missiles and 60 Iranian Navy ships. Donald Trump not giving any clear indication about what further objectives he wants to reach before ending the campaign, only adding that it will happen soon.
Israel is carrying out widespread strikes on Tehran and Beirut, the Lebanese Hezbollah launching missiles as well at an Israeli intelligence base in Tel Aviv. And 2 more fuel tankers have been destroyed during strikes off Iraq. Live now to Jacqueline Robson. Jackie, you've been hearing more alarms overnight.
We have, Gertie, and we've also felt the explosions from that coordinated attack from Hezbollah in conjunction with Iran on the Israeli intelligence base here in Tel Aviv. Israel fired back just as hard, striking the southern suburbs of Beirut, trying to snuff out Hezbollah. Buildings were damaged, cars were destroyed, and 7 people were killed. The Lebanese Health Ministry now says the death toll there is climbing towards and exceeding 600 people. But the war focus is really turning to oil ships and facilities. Iran retaliating after the US-Israeli strikes decimated a number of oil refineries in Tehran. 2 foreign oil tankers off the coast of Iraq were struck by explosive-laden Iranian boats. Iraq now stopping oil port operations, which will only feed into the chokehold that's gripping the world's oil supply. Earlier, 3 vessels were hit by unknown projectiles in the Strait of Hormuz, including a Thai cargo ship where 3 people remain missing. Iran's Revolutionary Guard warning it wouldn't let even a litre of oil through that crucial shipping passage. And in Oman, ship workers filmed a Shahed drone flying overhead before exploding at an oil depot. You can see those thick plumes of black smoke reaching into the sky. The price of oil has spiked since these attacks as we head into day 13 of this war. Gertie?
OK, thank you, Jackie. The former spy chief, handpicked by the Prime Minister to examine intelligence in the Bondi Royal Commission, has quit. Dennis Richardson was tasked with probing the role of law enforcement after the terror attack before his work became part of the Royal Commission. But he's pulled out just 3 months into the role, saying he was overpaid. Anthony Albanese had said Richardson was the best person in the country for the role. A convenience store worker was injured during a robbery on Hindley Street late last night. Police arrested a 20-year-old Burnside man, an 18-year-old from Black Forest and a 17-year-old Dover Gardens boy. All 3 suspects were charged with aggravated robbery. Luckily, the victim wasn't seriously hurt. A Liberal state election candidate has been removed from the race after more of his podcast comments came to light. What Labor's had to say after the break. Also, 2 people killed after their cars swept away by floodwaters in Queensland. Survivors of Jeffrey Epstein demand former Prince Andrew testify over his links to the pedophile. Australian hospitals under more pressure than ever before, according to new figures. And the Adelaide News Agency, where Lotto Lightning has struck twice. Welcome back. You're watching 7's Afternoon News. A few people have braved the Mount Lofty summit on this cooler autumn day. It's set to warm up again tomorrow. I'll have the details later in the hour. A controversial Liberal candidate who's been slammed for his extreme opinions on homosexuality, Islam and feminism will no longer contest the state election. Carsten Woodhouse's decision to stand down has sparked claims of civil war within the Liberal Party. Michaela Kamarik reports.
Well, the Liberals say they approached Carsten Woodhouse this morning and asked him to step down as the candidate for the northeastern suburb seat of Wright. He has now done so in what the party's state executive has described as being in the best interest of the Liberal Party. Mr Woodhouse had come under fire for a series of extreme comments made on an American podcast focused on Christianity. He claimed Islam is poisonous and wrong and said he opposes a ban on the Nazi salute. He also described same-sex marriage and feminism as demonic and claimed he had seen witches melt in church. Yesterday, Liberal leader Ashton Hearn said she did not support Mr Woodhouse's remarks, but defended his right to hold different views and indicated he would remain a candidate. Just 24 hours later, her position has shifted.
I stood here yesterday and I made myself clear that I did not support the comments made by a particular candidate. That remains true today, and that person is no longer a candidate for the Liberal Party at this state election.
The state executive of the South Australian Liberal Party is refusing to meet and refusing to carry out that disendorsement is essentially in open contradiction and open conflict and warfare with its own leader.
Now, the issue has exposed divisions within the party. Speaking in federal parliament today, SA Liberal Senator Alex Antic suggested that if Mr Woodhouse were to be disendorsed, the party may as well shut up shop before the election. Now, while Mr Woodhouse is no longer a candidate, he still remains employed by the Liberal Party. The leader says he's under contract and that arrangement will need to play out.
3 survivors of sex offender Jeffrey Epstein have travelled to Westminster to meet senior British MPs, demanding accountability and urging powerful figures, including Lord Mandelson and Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, to testify about their links to the pedophile.
For the British government to be taking this and holding it with the weight and the seriousness that it deserves has been really empowering for us.
The US Department of Justice believes Epstein has more than 1,000 victims. Lord Mandelson and the former Prince Andrew both deny wrongdoing. Overseas, and Swiss authorities believe a bus fire that killed 6 people in the western Switzerland on Tuesday was started by a man who set himself alight. It's believed the 60-year-old man doused himself in flammable liquid around 40 minutes after boarding the bus and then set himself on fire. He is thought to be among the deceased. The Swiss president joined officials and local residents for a minute's silence yesterday and laid flowers at the site. Queensland's flooding emergency has turned deadly with the bodies of 2 people pulled from a creek west of Gympie. As Liam Bland reports, communities are now assessing the damage from flooding overnight.
The floods turned deadly west of Gympie, where police have pulled 2 bodies from a creek believed to be those of a missing man and woman visiting from China. The tourists in their 20s left Brisbane on Sunday night, headed for Gayndah, about 4 hours away. They'd been going to work on a farm picking fruit when they drove into the flood zone.
The vehicle has driven off a bridge into flooded waters, which is really sad to see.
It wasn't until yesterday they were reported missing by a friend. Hours later, our 7 News drone spotted the pair's silver 4-wheel drive submerged in a creek outside Kilkeven, west of Gympie. Specialist police from Brisbane have removed their bodies and spent this afternoon trying to recover the vehicle.
We have been told that the families are coming to Australia and we'll assist them in every way that we possibly can.
It's been a busy few days for emergency crews across Queensland, where a number of communities have been inundated and experienced flooding. Chinchilla is one, counting the cost after Charlie's Creek, which snakes around the north of the town, peaked last night. Police and SES crews going door to door yesterday evening. Around half a dozen people spent the night in an evacuation centre at the showgrounds.
If it didn't go in, it was certainly very close to a lot of homes.
Charlie's Creek is expected to remain at the major flood level throughout tonight before receding significantly tomorrow.
It's not often lightning strikes twice, but one lucky news agency in Unley has sold $2 million winning tickets in just 1 week. The store is now on the hunt for its mystery winner from last night's draw. It's left wishful locals wondering what they do with the money.
I donate half to children's charities, and then I'd go and buy a unit at Salisbury.
It could be a hat trick. You never know. It could be a hat trick. You've got to be in it to win it.
Indeed, and tonight could be the night with $50 million in Powerball up for grabs. What time do you think that news agency closes? Can we get there in time, Tom?
I know. Well, you're here today, so you're not the mystery winner.
No, that's for sure. I wouldn't be here. I'd be booking a holiday for sure.
Yeah, I reckon.
What's coming up in sport, Tom?
Plenty happening, as always, especially in the build-up to round 1. Of the Crows have confirmed a major off-field coup, Gertie. Hawks legend Jared Ruffhead will be the club's new list manager. We speak exclusively to CEO Tim Silvers on how his personal connection got him to West Lakes. And Port's new car, how new coach Josh Carr is handling the build-up to his first AFL game in charge. All that coming up a little later.
How excited are you? Round 1, just moments away, really.
Opening round's a killer for me. I think it takes the steam out. So finally for our local teams, I'm pumped.
Okay, can't wait. Thanks, Tom. Well, the government has announced a plan to boost our ailing fuel supply. After the break, how a change to quality standards could help stave off the crisis. Also, a Seven Sports presenter reveals more about her cancer diagnosis. An Aussie tech giant slashes more than 1,000 jobs. Is AI to blame? The plans revealed for Prince Harry's visit down under, and the Payphone initiative connecting students with the elderly.
This election, 7 News is your first choice for exclusive stories and unrivaled experience. Mike Smithson covering his 11th campaign.
Until election day.
And Michaela Komarek bringing you every twist and turn.
Could reshape politics.
Malinauskas or Hearn. Watch 7 News when SA decides.
To developing news on Australia's fuel crisis, the federal government has just announced an emergency plan that will add hundreds of millions of litres in fuel to our domestic supply. As Josh Martin reports, the Energy Minister has lowered fuel standards.
Good afternoon. This temporary decision by the Energy Minister means that more fuel will be directed to regional areas where bowsers are currently running dry. Minister Chris Bowen has amended the nation's Fuel Quality Act. It means the Ampol refinery at Lytton in Brisbane will be able to utilise high sulphur fuel. it would normally send overseas in the domestic market. The plan has been put in place for the next 60 days. The government has been under intense questioning from the opposition. Panic buying triggered by the Iran war has seen regional towns like Batlow in New South Wales run out of diesel and petrol, and prices have surged well beyond $2 a litre. Farmers are warning it is affecting their ability to get produce to market.
The government must act to get fuel where it's needed to keep farms and regional businesses running. And Mandy from Inverbar Pastoral said this. She said, "Sam, can you tell the minister if he wants milk in his latte, he better get this sorted out quick."
A national crisis is a time for leadership on both sides of the House. Today I have decided to relax the requirements under the Fuel Quality Act. This will see 100 million litres of fuel extra flow in Australia a month over that time.
Well, the big message for every Australian is don't panic. The suppliers are there.
Paul Hines runs a seafood supply business from Grafton to Tamworth in New South Wales each week. He says current fuel supplies are adding $150 to the cost of each trip.
We've worn it today, fair enough, but it's going to get to a point, I think, where we will need to pass it on to the customer, which in turn may reduce sales anyway, so it's catch-22. What do you do?
The Prime Minister says ships are still arriving in Australia carrying fuel. The nation has 36 days of petrol, 32 days of diesel and 29 days of jet fuel in reserve.
New figures on Australia's healthcare crisis show a majority of the nation's hospitals remain under severe pressure, with lengthy waits for emergency care and surgery persisting. There were some modest improvements, including slightly shorter waits for planned surgery and small increases in hospital beds. Overall, performance is still worse than a decade ago, with doctors warning even $25 billion in extra federal funding may not be enough to ease the crisis. Homegrown tech giant Atlassian has confirmed it will slash 1,600 jobs, or about 10% of its workforce. CEO Mike Cannon-Brookes made the announcement after a horror run saw its shares fall by half, as investors predict their products will be replaced by AI. The layoffs are the latest casualty in the tech sector this year, with WiseTech firing up to 40% of its staff and Afterpay owner Block cutting 4,000 roles. Seven Sports presenter Mel McLaughlin has revealed she was diagnosed with lung cancer in December. A lifetime non-smoker, Mel says she wants all Australians to know the warning signs. Jennifer Beshwati has more.
Yes, good afternoon. Well, it is heartbreaking news. Mel's recovery from the diagnosis is slow, but it's also good. Doctors are happy with her progress for now. Surgery included removal of the tumour and half her lung with it. She's taking some time to rest before returning to presenting duties. Mel's cancer, fortunately, was detected early at stage 2, meaning the survival rate is higher. And the kind of surgery she had is not usually effective for later stage cancers, which tragically is what happened to Mel's older sister Tara a decade ago, the mum of 2 losing her life to cancer at the age of just 39. Now Mel shared her story to help others.
It's just very traumatic. It's very triggering. It's just a lot of emotions. Recovery is slow, but good. And they're happy for now. The reason why I wanted to do it is not to talk about me, and I'm not just saying this, it's awareness. It's the biggest cancer killer in the country. It's got a terrible stigma. I feel like I owe it to my sister. I just owe it to people that maybe could get something out of this.
Now, there is a growing pattern of young women in particular who've never smoked that are being diagnosed with lung cancer. Doctors say the rise is concerning and are pointing to environmental factors as a likely cause, including air pollution from traffic, toxic fumes released during cooking and cleaning, some aerosols and radon gas in homes. So it can happen to anyone at any time, not just smokers. Genetics is also a very big factor. As Mel mentioned, lung cancer is the deadliest cancer. It kills more Australians than breast and prostate cancer combined. Finding it early could make the difference between life and death. Here are some of the warning signs.
For patients who are worried about whether they might have something awful like a lung cancer, being conscious of symptoms that are really unexplained, like cough, like coughing up red blood, like pain that's unexplained, are really important symptoms that just should never go ignored. But then there are many, many patients who may have absolutely no symptoms at all. Really? And that's a totally different ballgame, of course.
National screening programs mainly target smokers over the age of 50. Advocates want that extended to include people in their 40s, particularly those with a family history of lung cancer.
The AFL's lewd photo scandal has taken a turn, with ex-Carlton president Luke Sayers claiming the image was taken for medical purposes. The former PwC Australia boss is doubling down on accusations his estranged wife Kate posted the picture on social media. His defence says she was the only person who knew the image existed and the picture was posted while he was in the shower. Their bitter legal fight continues in the Supreme Court. We'll have the latest on your money with ING Bank after the break. Plus, the pint-sized footy fan who's got some hot tips for his heroes. Prince Harry to speak at a mental health forum when he visits Australia next month. Darla Boomer, the social experiment stopping the young and old from feeling lonely. And see the primate whose exercise efforts are putting the rest of us to shame. You're watching 7's 4 o'clock news. It's been a calmer day in Brighton as the cooler conditions kept South Aussies away from the beach. I'll have more on the forecast after sport. Now let's check in with Rosanna and what's coming up at 6.
Thank you very much, Gertie. Coming up tonight, we expose the truth behind supply shortages and rising costs at the petrol pump, why it's happening and why the war is not necessarily to blame. Also, why drivers have been warned to expect lower quality fuel for the next 2 months. At 6, detectives uncover several items of interest at the outback home of missing 4-year-old Gus Lamont. We'll take you there live with the very latest developments. And from shrinkflation to chocolate shock, outrage at $30 bunnies, how you can avoid the Easter rip-offs, plus where you can bag a bargain. Those stories and so much more tonight at 6, Gertie.
$30 for a bunny.
Unbelievable. I won't be doing that.
No, my kids will have to split one in half.
True.
That'll go down well. Thanks, Rosanna. Well, a payphone at Boston University in the US state of Massachusetts is being used to connect Gen Z students with seniors living almost 5,000 kilometres away in Nevada. The social experiment encourages young people to phone a boomer and aims to combat loneliness in both age groups. If no one picks up the call, users are encouraged to leave a voicemail. The Australian share market has come under renewed pressure as oil prices climb back above $100 a barrel. Here's James Tao from ING Bank.
Hey, good afternoon. The recent rollercoaster ride for the share market continued, with the ASX 200 sliding 115 points to 1.3% and giving back nearly all of the gains from the previous 2 days. The ongoing conflict in the Middle East, including fresh attacks on energy infrastructure and oil tankers, is again rattling global markets. Brent crude has surged around 8%, jumping back to $100 a barrel, despite the International Energy Agency planning to release 400 million barrels to help stabilise global supply. Those spikes in oil prices has meant the energy sector has managed to close in positive territory, lifting solidly even as the rest of the market turned red. The tech and real estate sectors were hardest hit, while heavyweights in the banking and mining space were the main drags on the market today. Meanwhile, we saw the Aussie dollar also pulling back from its recent rally yesterday, where it hit the highest level since June of 2022. It's now buying around 71.3 US cents.
Prince Harry will lead a mental health summit in Melbourne when he visits Australia with Meghan next month. The Duke of Sussex will deliver the keynote address at a Lifeline summit on April 15. Organisers say the aim is to push awareness and drive change in how mental health is supported in Australian workplaces. If you struggle to get motivated for the gym, you're not alone. Marlu, a 125-kilogram orangutan at Melbourne Zoo, isn't exactly keen on chin-ups unless snacks are involved. So keepers have spent 10 years developing a drone that drops food parcels onto 12-metre towers, encourage him to climb and forage like he would.
Flying a drone in a public open space with, no obstacles is one thing, but flying it with this amount of obstacles in a zoo with trees and branches, I was like, oh God, please don't let me crash the drone.
And it's working. The 22-year-old ape now climbs the platforms and swings on ropes to hunt down parcels of food. I'd do that for a bar of chocolate for sure. A pint-sized pies fan has enjoyed the ultimate birthday treat, meeting his heroes at Collingwood Football Club. Heart patient Ollie is starring on this year's Good Friday appeal and had a few top tips for the team. Here's Nick McCallum.
Collingwood! It was a surprise birthday treat for Ollie Drum.
I can see Nick Dacos.
Ollie's hero.
How are you, Ollie?
You good? Give me a hug. How are you? Good. Thanks for coming out of training.
And advice from the face of the Good Friday appeal to the face of the Magpies.
You should play for the Magpies because they're good and you should win too.
All right, I like that message. Thank you. It's been amazing to meet him. His outlook on life's very special, so it's been awesome having him.
But for the coach, a grilling.
Who's your favourite footy players?
We've got 44 young men downstairs.
No, 45.
45! We're all over it.
Ollie was born with a congenital heart condition. He's had 2 open heart surgeries and faces another soon.
What's my name?
Peter.
Yeah. Welcome to Collingwood.
Our own Peter Mitchell, also a die-hard Magpie, gave him a 7th birthday tour of Collingwood headquarters. Ollie ran him ragged.
Collingwood! Collingwood!
Whoa! That's the best one today.
Are you a bit exhausted?
Trying to keep up with him, yes, I am actually.
Got these for you. They won't fit you yet. All right, but when they do, you got to let me know.
Okay.
I'll come watch you play.
And Ollie's message to all the players he met today:
Try and beat the other teams because the other teams, I don't like the other teams.
What's going on, dude? Hey, buddy. Take it high five.
It's quite an emotional experience to see. It's all the stuff you never thought you'd get to do, take him to games, try and meet the players, all that sort of stuff. It's quite humbling.
It was all the perfect preparation for Auskick, which starts for Ollie in a couple of weeks. How exciting is that going to be? What are you going to do at Auskick?
I'm going to be like Nick Dacos.
Oh, how sweet. I bet you he brings those boots out to training too.
Totally. That's the story of the year so far, I reckon. What a heart warmer. The Crows won't be happy about that this week.
No, they will not. And Tom, the Crows boss has opened up on the club's major off-field recruiting coup.
Yeah, he certainly has, Gertie. In an exclusive interview with 7 News, Tim Silvers tells us about the personal connection that he used to land new list boss Jared Ruffhead. Also coming up, 25-year-old power rookie Jack Watkins will make his debut against the Roos on Sunday. The wholesome moment he found out. And an Australian Open debut to remember for local golfer Reagan Denton at Kooyonga. Hello again. Ahead of round 1, the Crows have already had a big off-field win, landing Hawthorn legend Jared Ruffhead as the club's new list manager. Ruffhead has a long-standing relationship with Adelaide CEO Tim Silvers. The former Hawks administrator spoke exclusively to 7 News about the acquisition.
I've known Ruffy since he was 17. He's a great person, good values. Had an illustrious playing career. And post that, we've actually seen him in the recruiting and list management space at St Kilda and Hawthorn and have some real success. And we thought, we were attracted to him because he's got a ruthless edge, he's got great footy nous, he's a contemporary recruiting and list manager, and we thought he'd be just a wonderful cultural fit and be able to attract talent to our footy club.
7 News understands gun midfielder Jake Saligo will tackle the Pies in round 1, just over 2 weeks after undergoing a heart operation. Collingwood, though, won't be taking any risks with skipper Darcy Moore, who was set to return from a calf injury but failed a fitness test this morning.
No, I don't know. He left the track a little bit sore late, and I haven't had a medical update yet. There's a lot of threats down there, isn't there? They've got 3 big targets, and we'll have to have a plan accordingly. We survived last week without him, and we'll have to do something similar this week. Yeah.
It means they'll be without Moore and Jeremy Howe for a second straight week, but the Pies do have the bye next week. Tonight, it's Carlton against Richmond at the MCG. It's live and free on 7 and 7plus straight after the news. Well, 25-year-old rookie Jack Watkins will make his AFL debut for Port Adelaide on Sunday. North Melbourne's former VFL captain will take on the Kangaroos at Marvel Stadium after climbing up the pecking order at Alberton over the summer. The news delivered by his best mate.
One of my best mates growing up, very proud of him. So what are you making your debut?
Zach Butters there. It will be former Kangaroo Jason Horne-Francis' first game against his old side in Melbourne. He'll spend plenty of time forward and will have his minutes managed after an interrupted summer, but won't shy away from what's expected to be a hostile crowd.
He's had a bit of time to think about his first game in Melbourne. You know, this is going into his 4th year now with us, so it's been a while since he's played there, and obviously hasn't played against North Melbourne in that time. So I think he's excited at the same time. I think he always brings a bit of excitement when you know there's I guess what the opposition crowd might bring.
Former Giant Jacob Ware and Carlton recruit Corey Durden will make their club debuts as well. Todd Marshall will play his first game for the Power in 583 days. We'll have all the team news tonight at 6. Major champion Hannah Green is 4 shots off the pace at 2 under after the first round of the Australian Women's Open at Kooyonga. Fellow major winners Grace Kim and Minjee Lee are a further 2 shots back at even par. It was a dream Oz Open debut for local amateur Reagan Denton.
Oh, shot. Well done.
Her first tournament hole in one, she finished at 3 over. Welshwoman Darcy Harry holds the outright lead at a good score of 6 under. Well, Adelaide Thunderbirds co-captain Shamira Sterling-Humphrey is expecting this weekend's opening game against the Swifts to be an emotional occasion after missing the majority of last season due to the birth of her first child.
Yeah, really good that I have netball. Very important because I want to share this moment with my son. I want to feel the moment of finishing a game and then go grabbing my son. So looking forward to that.
The T-Birds season starts on Saturday night at the Entertainment Centre. The Matildas have hit the training track in Perth ahead of tomorrow night's Asian Cup quarter-final against North Korea. The North Koreans long boast a reputation for dodgy tactics, but Australia's captain is urging the Tillies to concentrate on their own game.
I think just being ready for it, and it's probably nice to see a little bit of it the other day just based on the fact that we now know what we can expect, but just focusing ourselves is the main thing.
Steph Catley and Hayley Razzo remain sidelined by concussion. In the Champions League, Arsenal was saved by a late penalty in the first leg of their round of 16 tie against German club Boy in Chelsea's 5-2 defeat to holders PSG. That's our sport, Gertie. But plenty tonight coming up at 6, of course, round 1 teams and more from that exclusive interview with Tim Silvers. He opens up further on a big recruiting pitch for Zach Bailey from Brisbane.
Right.
The reported offers $10 million over 7 years. So he talks a little bit to that. Worth watching.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Not bad.
I quite like 10 million. Anyway.
Powerball today?
Powerball. I'm going to head to Unley. It's been a cooler March day across Adelaide and we're in for slightly warmer conditions tomorrow. I'll have the details after the break.
On 7 News, how to beat the Easter price hike before the bunny hops into your house.
Oh God, I can't afford that.
Prices on family favourites soaring as sizes and recipes change.
If you thought they were expensive last year, you ain't seeing nothing yet.
The best value buys revealed on 7 News at 6.
To the weather now, and it's been a mild autumn day across much of the state with southerly winds keeping a lid on temperatures. In the city, after an overnight low of 13, we hit a top of 23 around 2 o'clock this afternoon. Right now, it's 19. Showers and thunderstorms are persisting about the top end. Almost 10 millimetres of rain's fallen in Darwin since midnight. Clear skies in Brisbane, warm in Sydney, currently 25 there. Cool in Hobart, partly cloudy in Perth, sitting on 26 at the moment. To the charts, a trough moving north through New South Wales is driving cool southerly winds. Further south, a high pressure system approaching from the west is also sending fresh southerlies over South Australia, Victoria and Tassie. Showers in the far west, dry elsewhere. 30's the top for Murray, 31 for Coober Pedy, 28 for Roxby and Port Augusta. Port Lincoln's heading for a top of 22, 25 for Whyalla, 28 for Port Pirie, 25 for Renmark, 22 for Clare, 21 for Edithburgh, 19 for Victor Harbour and 23 is the forecast top for Naracoorte. Flood warnings remain in place for inland rivers and other major catchments. And there's a strong wind warning in place for western coasts. In the city, it's dropping down to 12 degrees overnight. 25 is the forecast top tomorrow. It'll be a partly cloudy day. Clear skies and warming up on Saturday, but I'll have more on that in the full forecast later tonight. And that is all from 7 Adelaide's afternoon news team. Will and Rosanna will have our next bulletin at 6 o'clock, and I'll see you again for the weather at 6:02. Bye for now.
The 7 News app will give you the news you want every minute of every day, including breaking news alerts. Download the 7 News app now.